Welcome to Entertainment Hotspot, the hottest spot for all your celeb and entertainment news.
I'm Jazmin Moore.
And I'm Anna Commander.
Anna, what is hot this week?
Well, Jazmin, there's so much to talk about. So much has happened in pop culture, but the first thing I want to talk about is this crazy guy, Chris Brown, and his ex.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Karrueche. Apparently, she filed a restraining order against Chris, not only making him stay within 150 feet of her, but her mother and her brother as well.
I know, I heard. She said in a document that Chris threatened to kill her multiple times and has taken physical action against her friends, pouring drinks on them in clubs.
It is so crazy how the relationship did a 180. I guess it is hard to be cordial with an ex, especially if your ex is Chris Brown.
I know, but what I thought was most bizarre of his behavior was this video he posted saying, "I'm a crazy ex. If I can't love you, no one can."
That is so weird. Well, here's Charlotte with some fire movie reviews.
Hello to all my owls out there watching. I'm Charlotte Horton and I'm your hostess with the mostest. Today, we'll be discussing the hot to trot new movies out right now, the binge-worthy and the cringe-worthy. Is the movie worth your time? Find out right now. For today's segment, we'll be doing the horror genre. First up on the chopping block, the long-awaited horror movie sequel, Rings. Following up with the '05 Naomi Watts film, Rings is your typical high school horror flick. People watch these supposedly haunted tapes and get picked off one by one, dying in an eerie time frame in 7 days. While this movie isn't bad, it certainly would not get a repeat viewing from me. First of all, the plot has been done 10,000 times. And secondly, the cast just doesn't really gel. However, if you really want to be frightened, I have a movie just for you. The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's probably the scariest horror film in recent memory. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a horror film about an autopsy, set in a morgue, and it earns its creepiness and its R rating on scares alone. It's a very convincing acting duo from a father-son casting, and it is off the charts frightening. My take on it? Grab some popcorn, grab Bay, and get ready to be up all night shaking. All right, you heard it here first, owls.
Thanks, Charlotte. Now, Jazmin, can we talk about how Vogue completely disrespected Justine Skye on a Twitter post?
I know, I saw that. And for those who haven't seen it, the post is a picture of young supermodels partying in London, and all of them were named except Justine.
The post said, "Bella, Lily, Kendall, and Co. partied in London last night. See what they're up to here." And Justine's fans were not having it.
I know. Some comments read, "She's the most talented woman in this picture and you guys are crazy." And cool, the only black girl in the picture doesn't even get recognized.
I know. Justine actually followed up with her own tweet saying, "This really isn't a big deal compared to other situations we face as black women, but I appreciate how y'all were on go for me. Love."
So crazy. On to something more positive. Here's Dallas with Fashion Report.
Hey fashionistas, I'm your host Dallas Jordan, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Hotspot's Fashion Report. In celebration of Rihanna's birthday, I will be highlighting some of her dopest fashion moments that she has blessed us with. I'm also going to share some celeb looks from the Oscars last year, which airs this Sunday. This first look worn by Rihanna was literally one of her biggest moments during her entire career. She showed no reason to care that she was basically naked at the CFDA Awards in 2014. This ensemble she wore basically broke the internet, with fans and haters putting in their 2 cents. I personally thought she looked great. I mean, if anyone could pull this look off, she definitely did. Secondly, we have Ree's dress that she wore to the Grammys in 2011. I don't know, y'all. This dress is saying a lot. She definitely got attention from wearing this furry friend, but I love her, so I won't debate it. Anyways, lastly, here's one of her most recent looks, and my personal fave. She wore this orange crop top and black skirt set from the 2016 Grammys, and I thought she looked so confident and vibrant. The hair, accessories, and makeup were everything. Now, here's just a few looks from the Oscar Awards last year, and this year I'm going to be looking for celebrities who are always on point and those who needed to step their game up from last year. Okay, so y'all know I'm a sucker for all black. Kevin Hart and his wife Aniko looked stunning last year, and the long slit and one-sleeve shoulder dress will always be a classic. Next, we have Heidi Klum. I don't know, y'all. I've always had high expectations for her because she is so active in the fashion industry, and she's been a model for so long, but this dress kind of caught me off guard. It reminds me of like a bridesmaid's dress gone wrong. Last, we have Kerry Washington. I love her. Who doesn't love her? But she confused me with this look from last year. This dress is like half biker chick, half formal gown. But we will see who's seeking revenge for this year's award ceremony. That's all for this week, fashionistas. Follow us on Instagram at Fashion Report and get involved in our fashion themes. See you all next week.
Thanks, Dallas.
Oh, Jazmin, did you hear that Amber Rose is involved with the lawsuit?
Yes, I heard something about that. What's going on, Anna?
Well, according to Instagram, at the All Deaf Movie Awards on Wednesday, she announced that she bought Ace of Diamonds, which is a popular strip club in Hollywood. But it looks like she may have not told the whole truth.
Apparently, the real owner said Amber hasn't dropped a dime on the club, and her comment was a total lie. They also said they have not sold the club to anyone.
That is just so awkward and embarrassing.
I know. I'm so interested to see how Amber responds.
I know. Let's hope it gets resolved quickly. Here's Brandon with Movie Pick.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? My name is Brandon Cela for Entertainment Hotspot, and welcome to Movie Pick, where I go through the library of films and other crap that I've watched and tell you what you should be watching. And for today's segment, I'm going to talk about a film I've wanted to talk about since I started the show. It's a movie called Dune. Okay, are you sitting down? Because this film gets complicated as hell, okay? So first off, it was released in 1984. It was written and directed by this guy, David Lynch. It's based on a 1965 novel by Frank Herbert with the same name, Dune. And here's a backstory to the film, okay? So, book was released in 1965, right? The film was set to be made in 1973 by this guy, Alejandro Jodorowsky. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He approached several artists about, concept for backgrounds and costumes, as well as a bunch of actors, and he even wrote a script. So long, by the way, that the movie would take possibly 14 hours long. But then the film was stopped due to financial reasons, but the script remains a treasured piece of the franchise's history. So that was the first attempt. There was a second attempt made around 1979. This director, Dino De Laurentiis, he hired Ridley Scott, along several others, to make Dune. But then Ridley Scott dropped out because his brother died of cancer, and then the film was scrapped. So this is the 1984 film, just to be clear. The film stars Sting, not the wrestler, Sir Patrick Stewart from Star Trek The Next Generation, and then a bunch of other people. I can't recognize them, so I'm not, it's hard. Like a lot of these other films I talk about, they have a lot of actors I just can't recognize, so, And the film's plot itself, I mean, it's confusing, okay? It's about this guy, Paul Atreides, son of Duke Leto Atreides, who's trying to avenge his father's death. He was killed at the hands of this floating fat man, yes, a floating fat man, called the Baron. He tries to learn his powers on this other planet. There's an intergalactic war going on, and there's just a lot of stuff. But this is as much as I can condense. And talking about condensing, there are two versions of this film. I could recommend the 2-hour version. I know, it's long, but it is shorter than the 3-hour version, okay? And going into, again, more stuff that's weird about the film itself, the film itself is odd. There are some good moments, there are some great visuals for 1984, some good visuals as far as, backdrop and scenes and, stuff that they do with the monsters in the film. But then there's just weird acting. Like, in Star Wars, they talk like they would be in the Star Wars universe, but, I mean, it's just weird. It seems out of place. And there's laughable dialogue. I mean, there's one point where one of the leaders of one of the planets, he goes, "Bring me that floating fat man, the Baron," as if to distinguish from the other floating fat man in the film, which there are none. Again, weird stuff like that. And it's also good to point out that Frank Herbert, the guy who wrote the novel, he thought the film was okay, but it just lacked in scope. He thought it should be more grand, it should be, I guess, Star Wars-y, to put it simple. But then, ultimately, here's my take on Dune, okay? And I'm being honest here. I would say watch the movie a few times. Hear me out, okay? Because the first time, you get a sense of it, okay? You understand, okay, well, you're kind of dipping your feet in the water and you get a sense of okay, it's kind of weird, whatever. Second time, you gotta laugh at it, okay? You gotta laugh at just the weird stuff that goes on in this film. But then the third time, you enjoy it. You laugh at it, but then you appreciate just how they set up this whole world around this one novel. and all the characters and all the complex stuff that's going on here and there. And the movie itself, it's no Godfather, okay? It's not a great film. In fact, it did poor in the box office and it got very bad reviews. In fact, Roger Ebert gave it like a 1 out of 4 stars. But I mean, it's enjoyable as hell. I quote with my dad all the time. We have a lot of fun with it. We annoy my mom with wanting to watch the movie. She hates it, but we love it so much. But it's just, I want you to be able to experience Dune in its full intent, okay? So that wraps it up for Movie Pick this week. So next week, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try anti-movie pick, where I tell you guys about stuff that you shouldn't be watching. You shouldn't even poke it with a stick, okay? Next week, we're gonna talk about 50 Shades Darker. So that wraps it up. I'm Brandon Cela. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, Brandon.
Well, that's all we have for you guys this week.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Here's our handle.
See you guys next week.
Bye.